नमः पार्वतीपतये गोविन्दनाम संकीर्तनम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम्।
जय जय शंकर, हर हर शंकर।
Namaste children, namaste parents. And today again, once again, I am very happy to meet you all here. We are going to hear the Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya's Charitram. It's going on and it's all very interestingly, everybody is hearing it very interestingly. I'm very glad to know that. So last time we have seen how Adi Shankaracharya met his guru, Govinda Bhagavad Acharya. No, he met his guru and he got the tutelage from him. He got his Vedas, Upanishads and Brahma Sutras. He learned everything from Govinda Bhagavad Acharya. And then he came to Varanasi. He was instructed, and now he was instructed by Parameshwara himself to write on the commentary on Brahma Sutras. Write the commentary on Vedantas, Upanishads. We have been talking about 10 Upanishads, isn't it? 10 Upanishads, principal Upanishads he was writing. Can you say 10 Upanishads, what are they?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When did we do this again?
Which one?
When did we do that class where that you were talking about? Which day?
It was 2000 years before. You know, it was all 2500 years before it happened.
Yeah, but when did you tell the story to us?
When did
you tell the story?
Last time I told you. Last time I told about stories, isn't it? So we'll continue this, okay? We'll continue this. We'll continue this story today. And one interesting thing is that a disciple called as Sanandanar joined as a disciple, principal disciple of Adi Shankara. There is a beautiful story of Sanandanar, how Sanandanar became Padmapada. I'm going to tell you that story. See, that Sanandanar who joined Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya at Varanasi. Last time we talked about them, no? Sanandanar, he was a very wise person. He's a devoted and he's very wise. He's all very intellect. He's very intelligent. He's very clear. He has a clear understanding. He's fond of Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya. He's so fond of his Acharya. He's so fond of, he's devoted, more devoted to his teacher. He's most devoted to his teachings also. So he's very understanding, very refined consciousness. Very refined consciousness. So what happened is Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya was very fond. Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya was very fond of him. And please go on mute, please, so that I can you mute? See, so he was so devoted to his master and teaching and his teaching. Sanandanar was so devoted, and so Adi Shankara was so fond of his disciple, was so fond of this disciple, Sanandanar, and he teach him a lot. He spent most of his time with Sanandanar. And what happened is, some of the students, you know, more than all the students, he spends a lot of time with Sanandanar. So other students, it made the other students jealous. So Adi Shankaracharya understood this situation because other disciples are getting jealous of Sanandanar because he was so fond of him. So, but now the situation is understood by Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya. So he decided, okay, let me show to the other disciple why he is so favorite to me, why he is so near to me, so favorite to me. So he wanted to show them. So the greatness of Sanandana. how he is very great of all the devotees. So one day Sanandana was on one side of the Ganges river. They were in Varanasi, isn't it? Kashi, that is Kashi. So one day Sanandana was on the other side of the Ganges river, and Adi Shankaracharya was sitting with all other disciples on the other side of the Ganges river. So they were on the opposite sides. So at that time, what happened is the river was flowing very fast. A lot of water was flowing, lot of water. So you cannot cross it. You cannot cross the river like that. Like that, you cannot cross it so easily because the water was flowing so fast. Suddenly, what happened? Adi Shankara Bhavatpadacharya, Adi Shankara, he called out to Sanandana. Oh, Sanandana, quickly come here. Come on, come here quickly. Immediately, you come here. So, hearing his guru's call, he was hearing on the other side. No, he was sitting on the other side of the Ganges river. So, he was hearing. So, hearing his guru's call, Sanandana, what happened is he dropped whatever he was doing. He dropped that work, and without thinking anything, he ran across the river. He was walking on the river. Actually, he was walking on the river. He ran across the Ganges river. So it is said that when he was walking, it is said that the Ganges, the Ganga Mata, isn't it? Ganges river is the Ganga Mata. That Ganga brought lotus flowers right below his feet, right below the places where he would keep his feet. So he got the lotuses, but he was able to, so that he was able to run across the river without any problem. Okay, he didn't even notice. Sanandana didn't even notice. He was fully focused on Acharya. See, that is how the disciple should be, on Acharya, on the gurus. So he ran across the river and he came on the other side. So Sanandana was on the other side. Now he was approaching Gurudev, like he was approaching Adi Shankara, and he was asking, "Oh Gurudev, what do I need? What do I need to do now? Tell me." So seeing this, Adi Shankara was so pleased. You know, he wanted to show the greatness of Sanandana to the other disciples. Why he was so fond? Because he was so devoted. He was so devoted to the teaching, isn't it? He was so devoted to Acharya. So on seeing that, Adi Shankaracharya hugged Sanandana and he told, "See, your devotion has brought you back to me. See, so you are so devoted and your devotion has brought you back to me. So now from today onwards, from this day onwards, you will be called as Padmapadar." So thus Sanandana became Padmapadar. Padmapadar means he has lotus feet. Sanandana has got lotus feet. His feet was like lotus. So that is why he is called Padmapadar. From that day onwards, he was called Padmapadar. Sanandana was called Padmapadar. There is one more beautiful story. When he was in Kashi. See, this is all happening in Kashi. He was staying in Kashi, isn't it? Kashi means Varanasi. Varanasi, he was staying. Adi Shankara was staying with his disciples in Varanasi. One day, what happened? Adi Shankara, now he wrote all the commentaries on Brahma Sutra, isn't it? As instructed by Parameshwara, he was writing all the commentaries. He was writing all the commentaries of Brahma Sutras and he was teaching to the disciples, to his disciples. One day what happened? He finished his teaching. He finished his teaching to the disciples, and he was about to get up from his seat. At that time, an old Brahmin who was walking by, he came there and this old Brahmin was asking, "Who are you? What are you teaching to your disciples? Who are you and what are you teaching to the disciples?" See, all the disciples were surprised because, you know, this Acharya is so famous. He is a master. So these disciples got surprised. Why he is asking Acharya? You don't know? Don't you know him? He is the Acharya. He is Adi Shankara Bhavatpadacharya. You should know him. You should know how famous he is. He has done all the commentaries on Brahma Sutras, on Vedantas, Upanishads and Vedas. And he was teaching us. He was a master. He was an ocean of all the scriptures. He was the ocean of all the Vedantas. See, these people, they got excited and they are all explaining. They are giving a beautiful introduction. of Acharya, Adi Shankara Bhagavad Acharya. But Acharya, Acharya was so modest on hearing all these things. Some Acharya was so modest, and he said, my revered sir, I am not the master of all the Brahma Sutras. I'm not the master of all the Brahma. I bow down. I bow down to all the exponents who are the masters of these scriptures and Brahma Sutras, and I bow down. But yes, I have studied Brahma Sutra. I have studied them. I have commented them. I have commented on them, upon them. And if you have any questions, to me, you can ask me. So he was very modest in explaining to this old Brahmana. So, but the old Brahmana, and he said, the old Brahmana said, yes, I have some questions on whatever commentary you have written. I have some questions. I want to ask you. Come on, sit down. I want to ask you some questions about sutras. Okay, he sat down and he was asking to explain some of the sutras. He pointed out some of the sutras, and he wanted Adi Shankara to explain the sutras. Now Adi Shankara gives a brief explanation, or he explained the Brahma Sutras in such a way that, and he also told, that becomes a whole discussion. Like, he was explaining, but the Brahmin, he was asking some questions, he was explaining, and the whole discussion was going on and on and on. But it's not a heated discussion. It's not actually a heated discussion, but it's a high level discussion. It's not a heated discussion, it's a high level discussion where each point is debated or refuted. Each point is refuted again and again and discussed, and it is said that it went on, this discussion or the debate, it went on for more than 8 days. It's going on for 8 days. So what happened? All the students, their disciples, they were all standing there. They were all mesmerized. Wow, and shocked. They were all shocked to see that this person is able to discuss all the great things and talk to the masters for 8 days. But Padmapadacharya, like Sanandaran, who was called Padmapadacharya, he was also standing there. And because he was so clear and intellect, he started, started getting a feeling that this Brahmana, who this Brahmana really is. Who is this Brahmin? Okay, who is this Brahmin? And he wanted to know, and suddenly after 8 days, suddenly it clicked. So he realized and bowed down, and he said to the Brahmana is no other than sage Vedavyasa. See, the sage Vedavyasa, you have to know about Vedavyasa. Vedavyasa has compiled, isn't it? He has only compiled, and he is the knower of all the Vedas and Vedantas. And he has compiled, and he has written all the Brahma Sutras, isn't it? So now Padmapadacharya, he's praying, he is bowing down, and he says that you are the compiler of all the Vedas, and you are the incarnation of Mahavishnu himself. He was, he started to, chant a verse. Padmapadacharya, he chanted a verse, and he was telling that you are the incarnation of Mahavishnu himself, and you, my Guru, you are the incarnation of Shiva himself. And you, my Guru, is the incarnation of Shiva himself. So who are we, the students? Who are we, the students, or the disciples, or the servants of Acharyas? When you both are, debating, it will not come to an end. We know that it will not come to an end, because Sakshat Vishnu and Sakshat Mahavishnu and Sakshat Parameshwara is debating, isn't it? So the debate cannot come to an end. It is not going to come to an end. So hearing this, Adi Shankaracharya, because of this vision, he also realized, he also knows, and Adi Shankaracharya bowed down to Vedavyasa, because Vedavyasa is His name itself is Veda Vyasa. He has compiled Vedas, all the 4 Vedas, isn't it? So he has got the highest knowledge, highest knowledge. So the incarnation of Shiva and Vishnu himself is discussing the highest knowledge. Here, debating the highest knowledge. And if they are debating the highest knowledge, there is no end to it. So what happened when he said Adi Shankaracharya realized and bowed down to Vyasa, and on the spot he on the spot he composed a verse in praise of the divinity of Veda Vyasacharya, Veda Vyasa. And this Veda Vyasa, he is not the old Brahmin again. He is not the old Brahmin anymore. What happened is she started showing himself as Veda Vyasa now, with all the fullest glory. So now the Adi Shankara and all the disciples, they all prostrated before Veda Vyasa. And Veda Vyasa was so pleased. Vyasa was so pleased. He told that you are equal to me in all the learning, in every way you are equal to me. He is addressing Adi Shankaracharya. He told that you are equal to me in every way, and you have all the knowledge, and you are as dear to me. So now Shankaracharya, Adi Shankara, he is now telling Veda Vyasa, like Adi Shankaracharya also said, please forgive me. Please forgive me if I made any mistakes, if I make any mistakes in the commentary, because he has written the commentary of Brahma Sutras written by Veda Vyasa, isn't it? Veda Vyasa only wrote the Brahma Sutras, and Adi Shankaracharya made the commentary on the Brahma Sutras. So he is asking Veda Vyasa to forgive him, because if he made some mistakes, then you have to forgive me. In my commentary to the explanations, he said, please correct me. If I can improve, please correct me, so that I can improve my commentary on Brahma Sutras. So, because he is the one who has written the Brahma Sutras, Veda Vyasa only has written the Brahma Sutras. So you are the only one who can certify, who can authenticate or certify my commentary on your Brahma Sutras. So Veda Vyasa asked him to read the commentary. So he is reading all the commentary. He read it fully, and looking through the whole commentary, he declared that it is unrivaled. Okay, it's unrivaled and it is perfect. So he also praises the work, and he said, you being the disciple of Govinda Bhagavad Padacharya, you are the disciple of Govinda, how can there be any mistake? How can there be any mistake? So it's all very perfect. He is such a guru. So Adi Shankara told, oh great sage, I have completed my mission now. I have written the commentaries on the Prasthanatrayams. I have told about Prasthanatrayam, isn't it? Prasthanatrayam means Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Brahma Sutra. All the 3 are called Prasthanatrayam. See, I have completed my mission. Okay, I have written the commentaries on this Prasthanatrayam, and I have shared it with the students also, and I have refuted all the doctrines, all the other doctrines, that is the wrong philosophies that are going around. So I have nothing to do now, nothing else to do now. So what I'm going to now, by this time Adi Shankaracharya was 16 years old. By this time he was 16 years old. Initially he was allowed to live for only 8 years, and because of the blessings of all the sages, his age was doubled. So he became 16. Now by this time he is 16 years old. So what happened is, now all the missions, all the duties are over in this world, and so I am planning to go into the Himalayas and cast off my body. I'm going to cast off my body so I can reunite with the Supreme Consciousness. With you, see, will you accompany me? Then I shed my body. He's asking Veda Vyasa. Adi Shankara was asking to Veda Vyasa, and Vyasa looked at him and said, no. it's not your time to go now. It's not the time to end your life now. Now it's not the time. Okay. See, there are so many. You need to debate. You need to be you don't have the right to leave your body now. Okay. You should not end your life now. And there are more learned scholars. There are more learned scholars, some with different wrong philosophies. There are more learned scholars with different wrong philosophies going around the world, and you need to debate on them and show the true knowledge. Okay, you need to show the true knowledge. Your knowledge is only like a what I can say. Your knowledge is only like a baby. You are the parent now, and what you have to do. So you should live longer. You should continue to preach, and you should continue to be there and debate on the wrong philosophies, and you have to prove this Advaitic philosophy in the whole world. So, and you have to keep our parampara. That's the most important thing. You have to, and this tradition and parampara can continue, so that this parampara will continue. The knowledge is for the ages to come, isn't it? The Advaitic knowledge is for many ages to come. So you have to the Brahma, the creator has given you 8 years of life, and with the help of the blessing of all Agastya and all the other great sages, now you are living for 16 years, and now I bestow on you with the Ashirvadam of Parameshwara. I bestow on you that you will be living another. Your life is doubled. Now you will be living for another 16 years. So he has doubled. Now your lifespan is again doubled, and you doubled, so that you can go through. You have to go on Digvijayam. You have to go for Digvijayam. Vedavyasa now also told Adi Shankara to go for Digvijayam. Digvijayam means it's a spiritual conquest. It's a spiritual conquest. So you have to go there. So Adi Shankara felt a little bit bad, to take part with Vedavyasa. Now he is going to part. Vedavyasa says that he has done his Asirvadam and he went. Vedavyasa, his duty is over and he went away. But Adi Shankara felt a little bit bad to, part with Vedavyasa. But he has to continue his mission, isn't it? And Adi Shankara decided that the first person he would meet was Kumarila Bhatta. His name is Kumarila Bhatta. Kumarila Bhatta, who is Kumarila Bhatta? Yes, Kumarila Bhatta was a great profounder or a great scholar of Purva Mimamsa philosophy. Okay, that's a philosophy. This is Advaitic philosophy. Adi Shankara was a profounder of Advaitic philosophy. So Kumarila Bhatta is a profounder of Purva Mimamsa philosophy. This is a school of the Vedic philosophy that says that rituals means yajnas, homams are all supreme. Okay, this is also a ritualistic interpretation of Vedas. Ritualistic interpretation of Vedas, and it was he was very renowned on this Purva Mimamsa philosophy. So Adi Shankara thought, if I can talk to him, if I can talk to Kumarila Bhatta, if I can explain him this Advaitic philosophy, so that the principle of this philosophy, if I could able to explain the principle, then he would be the best person to write Vartikakara. His name is Vartika. Vartika means he has done a commentary on Brahma Sutra, isn't it? Brahma Sutra was done by Vedavyasa. Adi Shankara has given commentary to the Brahma Sutras, and to his commentary, an explanation should be there, isn't it? So he found that Adi Shankara found that this Kumarila Bhatta will be the right person to do Vartikam. Vartika means explain his commentary. So he is the right person, and I have to go and talk to him, and I have to explain to him. So he started. He went towards the south because he is near Vindhya ranges. So he was near Vindhya ranges, and so he started towards south. He went to Prayag. Prayag is a holy spot where Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati meet. That's a holy spot, Sangama. Okay, That's a holy Sangama. Sangama means it's a meeting point. So on this holy spot, Adi Shankara bathed and they were all sitting there. But the news came, they heard that Kumari.
Alert from updates available.
That he heard that the Kumarila Bhatta was entering the fire. Kumarila Bhatta was entering the fire. They heard when they were sitting there after taking bath, they heard that Kumarila Bhatta was, was entering the fire, and thus give up his life. So it is said here that he has made fire with paddy husk. Paddy husk, umi. In Tamil, they say umi. Okay, paddy husk. It's just a slow kind of fire. Okay, the fire will be there inside the paddy. So they made the fire in the paddy husk. Okay, so paddy husk and as an expiation to your son.
What is a paddy husk?
Paddy husk is something made up of rice. Okay, dry rice. So he made fire in that, and he was there. He was burning himself. Kumarila Bhatta was burning himself. And what happened was he was there in the fire because he wanted to expiate some sin. He has done a very big sin, like he has done a Guru Droham. He has betrayed his Guru. Kumarila Bhatta has betrayed his Guru, and so he was on fire. He was, it sounds terrible. But he just said that it's a terrible sin. That is, betraying a Guru is a terrible sin, isn't it? So he betrayed his Guru. But he was a famous scholar. He was a master. He was a master of all Vedas. Kumarila Bhatta was also a master of all the Vedas, all the branches of the learning. Okay. So the Adi Shankara thought, I have to be quick. I have to go there before, burning himself. I have to be there. So he rushed there. And by that time he reached, the body of Kumarila Bhatta was already burning. The body was burning. But the face is so radiant because he has learned all the Vedas, isn't it? All the Vedantas. So his face was radiant as he was very knowledgeable of all the Vedas. He is a scholar, he is a sage, isn't it? Kumarila Bhatta is a sage. So it's very radiant. He was visible. He was visible in the smoke. He was visible. So when he saw Adi Shankara, he was very excited because he knows Adi Shankara. He has not seen personally, but he has heard about Adi Shankara, his fame, his name, and his knowledge and everything, his great wisdom, his devotion, everything, his teachings, and he was very keen to meet him. So he welcomed Adi Shankara. He asked all the disciples to go and welcome. He has to, with honor, they have to welcome the Adi Shankara with all the rituals. And Adi Shankara was very pleased, very happy. He wanted to show his commentary. He has written commentary, so he wanted to show his commentary to Kumarila Bhatta. So everybody was surprised. So it may look surprised, but because the body was burning, his head is only visible, and he was seeing the commentary. He was seeing the commentary of Adi Shankara, what he did. So he was so surprised. Wow, what a commentary. And he asked, Adi Shankaracharya asked to write explanation to the commentary. But he said, Kumarila Bhatta said, you have got a vast knowledge. Your subject is something, you have got a lot of subjects. Even taking one subject from your commentary, say Maya, superimposition, Maya. If you take that subject, and if I want to write a commentary on that, it will take so much of verses, and I'll be very honored to do so. I'll be very glad to do so. But what happened is, but I couldn't do this because I regret. I regret I couldn't do this because it would be honor to write the commentary. But I have taken the vow. I took the vow that I have to destroy myself. I have to, destroy myself in the fire. So I have taken the vow and I couldn't write this Bhartikam. Bhartikam means commentary. Adi Shankara asked, why are you doing this? What happened? Why are you doing this? Why are you, taking your life and burning yourself? Why are you doing that? What made you to do that? At that time, Kumarila Bhatta, he explained. See, for this question, he explained, I have betrayed my Guru. I have deceived. Means I have betrayed, going against the Guru, going against the Guru. See, Buddhist doctrines, there are a lot of Buddhist doctrines spreading all over the country. And some of the Buddhists, what they did is, they were preaching against the rituals, against our rituals. Some of the Buddhist doctrines or some of the preachers or acharyas of Buddhist monasteries, isn't it? They were all preaching against the Vedic rituals, practices. They are all discarding our scriptures, and they were converting even the king and everybody. So my heart, my heart was aching when I, because of this, and we have to preserve our Vedic scriptures and all the rituals. So I want to preserve all the rituals and scriptures. And there is nobody powerful enough in those days to oppose them. Okay, oppose them in their logic, and their teachings. So even I could not do that because I don't know the teaching. I don't know the philosophy, isn't it? I don't know. I have not mastered. I have no mastery over their philosophy. So I don't know the teaching. I don't know their subject. So I have to do something. I can't simply turn against them, isn't it? I can't simply turn against them. So what I did, I went to that Buddhist monastery and disguised myself as a student, as a disciple, or as a monk. I stayed there with the Buddhist monastery people. Okay, I stayed there with them and learned the Buddhist tradition and culture and everything. Okay, what happened is, one of the acharyas in that Buddhist monastery, he was mocking the rituals. He was, criticizing the ritual practices. He was criticizing. He was a profound scholar of Vedic rituals, isn't it? This Kumarila Bhatta. So on hearing that, he was crying. The tears filled in his ears and he was crying. One of the disciples on the Buddhist monastery, they saw that he was crying. They were all surprised. See, even though they teach non-violence, what they did is they conspired. Okay, he's saying, Kumarila Bhatta says that they conspired me. Okay, even though they are all teaching non-violence and stuff like that, they took me to the top of the mountain. They overpowered me and took me to the top of mountain, and they were about to push me from the top of the mountain. So I took a sankalpa. Sankalpa means I took a vow. That I took a vow in myself. I took a vow that if the Vedas are truly the revealed ones, revealed knowledge, as we say, isn't it? If the Vedas truly the revealed knowledge, we say it is the revealed knowledge. So if it is truly given by the rishis, then even falling off from the mountain, from this mountain, the body will not be hurt. The body will not be hurt. So I'll be okay. Then what I did is I liked them. I linked the validity of the Vedas and bound it to my life. Okay, that's how he did. Kumarila Bhatta, he's telling everything to Adi Shankara. So he was thrown off from the mountain, and it is said he was fine. He was fine and he was not hurt because the Vedas are true. Because the Vedas are true and he was so truthful. Vedas are also true and he was also so truthful, and he was saved. Okay, his intention was also very truthful, isn't it? But one of his eyes got hurt. He became blind on one eye. Okay, he was asking to himself, okay, my life is saved and all that, I'm okay, but why my eye? Why one of my eye has gone? Then he heard saying that because he said, if Vedas are revealed knowledge, if, isn't it? The word if indicates a sense of doubt. He is not 100%, sure. There is no 100% sure. So even though I have been teaching the knowledge, even though I have been teaching the knowledge throughout my years, there was a little bit of doubt. So what happened is, he took one of my eye, and that is a sin. You can't doubt Vedas, isn't it? So that is a sin, and because of that, I lost one of my eyes. Rest of my body was okay, was unhurt. Okay, but still, by means of deceiving the acharyas, by means of cheating the teacher. So it is said that even, he went to the monastery, he went to the Buddhist monastery, he got the knowledge from Buddhist acharyas, but he disguised himself as a Buddhist, isn't it? He was cheating the acharya. So what happened? It is said, even if one, you see, if one teaches one little alphabet, he is your teacher. He must be respected as a teacher. Even though if he teaches a little,
Continue, Kude.
he is worthy of respect. So
Can we hear?
he shares his knowledge, because he teaches, he shares his knowledge with you. So then if someone who is sharing a branch of knowledge, see, I have to give respect to him, isn't it? So but I cheated, I disguised myself as a Buddhist and went to the monastery, and now I got all the teaching. Now I got the knowledge of Buddhist doctrines, isn't it? By cheating them. So I want, so this is against my thing. So I wanted to punish myself. I wanted to purify myself. I wanted to get rid of the sin of deceiving acharya, of a teacher. Okay, so because I used this knowledge of Buddhist knowledge to debate them, to to discuss the matters and all. So it is all my mistake. So he said, in order to purify myself, to repent from the sin, I have chosen voluntarily to undergo a slow death, to expiate from the sins. That is called, he is undergoing this burning kind of thing voluntarily. So, but he said, Kumarila Bhatta said, but your presence, now you are in front of me, isn't it? He is talking all this to Adi Shankar Bhagavat Padacharya. He is in the fire now, and he is speaking to Adi Shankara. He said, your presence, you are so holy, you are so holy, and your very presence is so holy to me, so free from sins. Okay, so your darshan itself has purified me. That is what, you have to get darshan of acharya always. You have to pray to acharya always. Darshan of acharya or darshan of guru will remove our sins. Whatever sins we have done, we don't know what sins we are doing. Okay, it will all remove. So that's how Kumarila Bhatta is saying here, your darshan itself has purified me, and it is too late to write Vartikam now. I can't write Vartikam, means I can't write commentary explanations for your commentary. Okay, so I have already entered the fire. But Adi Shankara told that you are not a sinner. You are an incarnation of, see, Kumarila Bhatta is said to be an incarnation of Murugan, Shanmugan. So he is saying, Adi Shankara told that you are not a sinner, and you are the incarnation. You have taken the birth to challenge the Buddhist. That is your mission. So you have done. So sin cannot affect you, and you have to protect this world. So, and so it was required at that time. It was required at that time to save the scriptures and all the Vedic knowledge and Vedic rituals from being extinct. So Adi Shankaracharya said, I can still save you. I can chant a powerful mantra and save you from this sin. Okay, I can save you from this fire. So that, because he is very keen to write his commentary. For his commentary, he is very keen that Kumarila Bhatta has to write the explanation for his commentary. But Kumarila Bhatta, he refused and said, okay, for you and me, it's okay. Okay, there is no sin for you and me, it's okay. But for the world, it's not good. Isn't it? But for the world, it's not good. I don't want to go against my vow. Okay, I have taken the vow to enter into the Doomagni, means the slow fire, slow death. And one who has gone against the vow is not worthy of writing explanations to the Vedas also. See, is coming to the point. Okay, so if you ask, see, I have to ask one thing to you. Please be in my presence, okay, at this last moment, and teach me Brahmajnana. Okay, Brahmajnanam. So if you allow me to liberate here in front of you and realize this self, this birth would have been fulfilled. Okay, and he also says one more thing I want to tell you, that you can meet Mandana Mishra. There is one more profound scholar there called Mandana Mishra, and he is very profound. He is also like me, and you can meet him and he can be your Vartikan. Got it. So we will see about Mandana Mishra next session. Okay, next session we will see about Mandana Mishra. Those are very interesting stories going to come. And here we have seen that how Kumarila Bhatta liberated himself in the presence of Acharya, Adi Shankaracharya. So we will conclude this with Purnamidam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyati. Thank you all. We'll meet at the next session. You stay here for slokas, Adi Shankar Bhavapada slokas. Stay back. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.